No, welcome to the chef's room in Thurston Middle School, where we create lots of fun recipes, pretty easy to do. We are going to show you how to make the tomato basil grilled cheese sandwich today. So let's see what you're going to need for that. You're going to need a little bit of balsamic vinegar, some good quality extra virgin olive oil. We are going to need some garlic powder, black pepper, salt, Parmesan cheese, regular cheese slices, olive oil that I have transferred to this measuring cup, some fresh tomatoes, and some fresh basil. So I've taken out some of these ingredients in little containers so that they are easier to use. Let's start by first slicing the tomatoes. You know how to protect your fingers. Fingertips tucked in, knuckles out, acting as a guide. And try to slice the tomatoes as thin as you can. The other thing that you can prep now is getting the basil ready. I'll show you a technique how to do it. You can of course just chop them any way you want because they're going to go inside the sandwich, so it doesn't matter how they look inside, but I'll still show you how you could chiffonade the basil. So you could stack up the leaves, one on top of the others, just like a deck, and then roll them up. I'll show you how to do it. So I got 4 leaves here, and I'm going to roll them up now. Remove the stems, you don't want that, and then roll them up into this tight bundle, like that. Let's move this out of the way so you can see better. So roll it up like this. And then run your knife through it like this, protecting your fingers so that you get these ribbons of basil. So here they are. So we just chiffonade the basil, and we're ready to assemble our sandwich. And I already have my pan preheating so that it's at the right temperature when it's time to put the sandwich on it. So we need 2 pieces of any good quality bread that you like. I'm using whole wheat bread today. So you're going to put your bread here, and you're going to put the tomatoes and the basil on it. You can put as much or as little as you like. And you're going to season the basil and tomatoes. So I'm going to season it with a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, and a few drops of balsamic vinegar. No more than that, because balsamic vinegar has a strong flavor and you just want a little dab of that. That's why I'm using this brush, putting just a few drops on the tomatoes to season the tomatoes. Now I'm going to prepare the olive oil mixture that's going to go on top of the bread and the cheese slices that are going to go on the tomatoes. So I'm going to first put the cheese slices on. Now I like to use only about 1.5 slices for each sandwich. I'd say use no more than 2 slices. Depends on the size of the cheese slices too. So I'll use about 1.5 slices just to make sure that every corner of the bread is nicely covered. You don't want any dry pieces in your mouth. And then this sandwich is ready. Now what's going to go on top? That's what we have to prepare now. So in a measuring cup or any container, you're going to measure out 1/4 cup of olive oil, which is what I've done already here. So I've got 1/4 cup of olive oil in here, good quality extra virgin olive oil. I've added 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese to it, and 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. So that's what this mixture is, okay? So olive oil, garlic powder, and Parmesan cheese. And that's what's going to go on the top of the sandwich. We're not using butter for this recipe. So now again, just stir it because you want the flavor to be there in every portion of the mixture. And then spread this on the sandwich. Want to make sure that you get to every corner. And then I'll show you how to flip it over. Now to flip it over, I use both my hands like this. You hold it like this with your thumb and your fingers underneath. And then you flip it over like this and do the other side too. So I'm now doing the other side. And that's it. When you have layers of flavor going on with the garlic and the Parmesan cheese, you really don't miss the butter in this recipe. You're going to now transfer it to the frying pan. When you're ready to transfer, I want you to think about trying to get it there without the inside fillings falling off of the sandwich. So here's my suggestion. Try to make sure that it goes more than halfway through on the spatula. Okay? More than halfway through. Use your other hand and then bring it close to this and then transfer it gently like that. Slide it on. Okay? And once you slide it on, press it down. You want to press it down because you want the heat to go through the bread onto the cheese, because cheese acts like a glue, and that's what kind of keeps your sandwich together. So I'm pressing it a little bit. Now remember, my pan was already preheating, so it's at the right temperature. It's at medium high, and then after about say 40 seconds or so, I'm going to check and look on the other side. Just give it a look at it like this. Just peek to see if the color is what you want it to be, and I can already see it's a nice golden brown color on that side. So I'm going to flip it. Again, I'd say hold this pan like this, tilt it a little, get it more than halfway on the spatula, more than halfway on the spatula, and then flip it. So when you flip it, sometimes if you have thick slices of tomatoes, they may try to slide out, but it's okay if that happens. You can try to put it back together like this, and then do the other side. Now if your cheese is a good quality cheese that melts very easily, it's going to hold your fillings together really well. And then just the other side needs another 30 seconds, and you can transfer it to a plate. And then here's your basil tomato grilled cheese sandwich. There you go. Happy cooking!